Guys, welcome back to another week. It's the Florida Gambling Boys on YouTube. It is our football frenzy show as we get you ready for week number 8 in college football, week 7 in the NFL. Hard to believe we're already a week.
Can you believe that we're about halfway through this thing?
We wait 8 months from the Super Bowl for football, and boom, we're a third of the way through the year already.
Yeah, we're halfway through college anyway.
We are sorry we weren't with you last week. Unfortunately, Hurricane Milton came rumbling through the Tampa Bay area, and it did a number on this area. Could have been worse. So, to that extent, I'll say we got lucky and knock on wood, and
very lucky.
We'll wait for the next one. As always, I am joined by Super Dave Kreitz.
He does exist,
He does exist. And welcome back, because Tom was out of town for a work event and couldn't make the last show we had.
Work event.
So, Midwest Tom Tice is back.
Thank you, guys. I'm here. Apologize for not being here.
And I am, as always, I am the magnificent one, Sean Mayall, your host. Real quick, we didn't have picks last week for the records. Dave, you were mentioning you are 11-9 in college football. Is that correct?
I'm 11-9 against the spread in my college football picks, and unfortunately 2-7 in my NFL picks.
The NFL
going back,
is just
looking through my notes by candlelight. Well, against the spread.
There's a reason they said the NFL stands for no effing logic.
Right.
Or not for long.
Right, either one.
Either one. But, yeah, it's been very difficult. Dogs popping like crazy. And then last week, road favorites go 9-0 against the number in the NFL last week. It's insane.
Yeah, I am 7-4 in college against the spread. And I am 3-4 in the NFL.
Okay.
In terms of nuts on numbers in the NFL, though, how did the refs have more penalty yards
that
than
Monday
the Bills
night
or the
game was
Jets?
brutal.
209 penalty yards.
It was tough to watch.
You know what? I watched that and I'm going.
Get them off the air.
My concern going forward, guys, is with all the gambling and all the things that are going on with football. Some of these games could be.
Yeah, I don't even want to think that, but you're right. I know what you're saying.
But these games could be. I mean, we don't know. I don't want to say the 2 words I'm going to say.
I know.
So I'm not going to say them.
Let's move forward.
Because we are a football show and we like to pick games. But I'm concerned as some of the trends that I'm seeing. And I'm concerned a little bit in college of some of the trends I'm seeing.
I hope we never see a Tim Donaghy situation in football, but you never know.
No, I don't think it's going to get to that point, but...
let's hope not.
But like I said, we're seeing some things that we've never seen before.
Well, we're back this week, and we're here to bring you some winners, give you great insight to some of the top games of the weekend. I am 5-4 in the NFL. And a whopping 16-7 in college football.
Only because you picked more games than we did.
I do, but you know what, Tom? I pick winners.
Yeah, but you picked way more than we did.
We put our pants on one leg at a time, just like
each
other.
But you know,
that's if you have
I
legs.
just give winners. That's all.
I get it. I get it.
Anyways, let's jump into college football. We did have some barn burners last weekend. And I think this week's going to have some good games in store for us. The big matchup is going to be Georgia at Texas. The line is 3.5. Texas laying 3.5 at home. Dave, you want to start with that? What do you think?
I've got a lot to think about with this. Texas obviously wants to stay the number one. They want to stay undefeated. They're at home. They were able to handle Oklahoma. They've been able to handle all of their competition so far. So far, Texas won all 6 of their games by 19 points. And they're considered, by many, the best team in the nation.
Well, right now they are.
I can't disagree with that.
Right now they are.
Georgia trailed Alabama by 28 in the second quarter.
Yes, they did.
In the fourth quarter, they had a lead 34-30. 34-33.
Yeah.
Gave up that game. Georgia is the team Georgia was the team to beat before Texas took this number 1 spot. Quinn Ewers is back, but he's a lot less mobile than Jalen Milroe. I think Milroe caused a lot of problems when Georgia played Alabama. Georgia's going to get after him. They've won 16 of their last 17 road games, and it's rare to get Georgia with points.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm saying there's ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. I'm taking Georgia.
I'm taking Georgia all
and
day
the
long.
points.
I agree with you. And I'll tell you what, the difference in this game is going to come down to Georgia's front seven. And the reason it's going to come down to that front seven is because they rotate 11 players into that front seven. They have a tremendous amount of action. Now, they're going to be undersized compared to Texas's offensive line, which is massive.
Yes.
But I think they're going to come in with blitz. Kirby Smart he's a really good game day coach.
He's a great defensive coordinator.
And he's a great defensive coach. So I think he's going to come in with a lot of delayed blitzes. We're going to see a lot of things from Georgia we've never seen before. But I think
they're going to have to throw the kitchen sink at Texas.
I think they come out of there with a win. And I think the biggest thing that's going to affect them is Texas' sophomore tackle. I can't think of the kid's name, but he hasn't played well the last 2 weeks. They actually talked about him. And I think those defensive ends that they're going to rotate in and out, they're going to cause havoc.
I look at it a little differently.
And I think Quinn Ewers is going to be under pressure the entire day. And the only way to beat Texas is to get him under pressure.
Oh,
because
100%.
he's not like Arch. He's not going to run. Now he may have to run for like a 3rd and 3. He may have to run for a 3rd and 4 where pressure breaks down, the pocket breaks down.
He's not a scrambling quarterback, but he can be mobile when needed.
But when the pocket breaks down, he can probably get out and get a few yards.
Absolutely.
And that's who he is. But he's not going to run for 20, 22, 24. That's not who he is.
But that Georgia speed can get him too.
But the Georgia defensive backfield, they can come up and play man-to-man when you're putting 7 in the box. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
Going to have to, because that wide receiving core is outstanding for Texas.
It's a good receiving core.
I look at it differently. Look, Texas has gotten decimated by the draft over the past 2 seasons.
Correct.
And I don't think their defense is all that strong this year. Now, do they recruit well? Yes. Are the kids all young? Yes. And I just think that Texas, with their size on the offensive line, they run the ball well, they've got a great receiving core, and their defense is filthy. They get after it. I've got no problem laying the 3.5 here. I think we're finally starting to see some chinks in the armor with Alabama and what Dave you mentioned.
You like Georgia then?
I like Texas.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I agree with you about the mobility of Milroe from Alabama.
Yep.
So does that mean we see a little couple series here with Arch Manning?
We could very well see some series with Arch Manning.
Because his mobility is
outstanding.
I don't know where he got it from, because it wasn't Peyton and Eli or Archie.
Well, it was his dad. It was his grandfather.
I know.
He got it from his grandfather because he ran for his life for 9 years of his career.
But losing 2 defensive tackles in the middle for Texas to the draft last year, I think Etienne causes a problem.
Well, I watched Texas the last 2 weeks. Their defensive front, it's really big, but man, are they cumbersome. They're just they push the front.
Lumbering.
They're not athletics. They're just big guys.
Carson Beck's a big game quarterback. He's played enough big games.
He's going to do fine.
I don't think he's going to be intimidated by the Texas crowd.
No, I think like I said, I'm all over Georgia in this game.
Okay, all right. So we got another big one in the SEC with number 7 Alabama traveling to Tennessee. Thoughts on this one, Tom?
I like Alabama.
Okay,
I think Alabama has great athletes. I mean, they really do. They have great athletes everywhere on the field. I think their front 7, comparable to Georgia, is a little undersized, but I think they're athletic as hell. Okay. I like all Alabama's, offensive line. Love the quarterback. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's been a great find for them.
Is a great quarterback. So I think if they can establish a little bit of a run game early in that game and, hold Tennessee's defense back a little bit and make them go play either man-to-man or go make them play a zone. Okay? If they get them into a zone where they're running like a nickel or even a dime, and they're only putting 6 on the front against
I hear you.
that line, I think Alabama's going to win this football game. But I think Alabama has to come out and strike early. They got to strike early. They got to get ahead in this game. And that's all I'm telling you.
Dave, what do you think?
So Bama's defense, to me, just can't seem to get off the field.
It's been a bit of a problem.
It's been a trickle effect.
Yep, that's what I was saying.
They can't seem to get off the field. I don't need their defense I need them to be able to get off the field. Bama doesn't want to run the ball for some reason.
Whatever it is, I don't know.
It's just weird. Run the rock, play defense. Now, Tennessee's defense has not allowed anybody over 20 points yet.
Correct.
Anybody. Milrose, 73%, 1,483 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and taken 11 sacks. But he adds 77 carries, 319 yards, and 11 touchdowns to that as well. Yamaleava is 66%, 12-19, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, also taken 11 sacks, 135 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown. Tennessee is going to succumb to Alabama's defense because I think Bama's offense is going to be too explosive.
Correct.
The front 7 at Tennessee can contain the wannabe Bama run game that we still haven't seen. But the back end of that Tennessee defense is just going to get shredded as Miller runs
Did we
around.
see Ryan Williams explode and go nuts against this Tennessee secondary?
I would hope so.
I think so.
I mean, he's the fastest kid in the nation. He's 17 years old.
Good God, the kid runs like a 4.28.
Him and a kid from Ohio State, the freshman there.
Yeah.
Another
Between those
stud.
two best running backs in the country are 18 and 17 years old.
So who do you like in the game, Dave? Alabama?
I'm taking Alabama.
I'm taking Alabama all day long.
I believe the line's 3 right now. I don't know if we'll see that shift off that number. You know, I'm having a hard time with this game. When I look at Nico, the quarterback of Tennessee, he put up big numbers early in the year against Tennessee, Chattanooga, against an equally shitty North Carolina State team. In the last 4 weeks, he's only thrown for 2 touchdowns. And if you look at his passer efficiency rating, or you want to call it QBR, I hate the made-up stats by ESPN, but whatever. He is in the bottom 10 in the country over the last 4 weeks. It's saying a lot to me.
They haven't put over 200 yards.
And
he hasn't thrown over 200 yards in 4 weeks.
Awful against Florida last week. I mean, they were just atrocious. Florida had every chance to win that game, and they blew it.
I know well, that's what they're going to do. Going forward, every game they have.
Gun to my head, I pick Alabama, but it's not a play for me this week.
Oh, it's a play for me.
I might look more at the over because we've seen Bama's defense get shredded by Vandy, and South Carolina put up points on them.
Well, 41, didn't they, or 39?
Yeah,
or whatever it was.
I mean, so some of the lesser teams in the SEC are gashing them. So I think Tennessee's going to get theirs. I think Bama gets just a little bit more. So let's move on to another game that I find very curious with the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers at home against a weird Nebraska team.
Sean, these are 2 coaches that are trying to get their programs to the next level.
Absolutely.
Dave, you're a Big Ten guy like me. This one I find hard to pick.
Well, because I haven't seen Indiana or Nebraska in this position in how long?
Well, correct. I mean, think about it. I mean, Indiana's 6, Nebraska's what, 4-2?
I think they're 5-1.
Are they 5-1?
I believe so.
I mean, hell, this has been a long time coming for these 2 teams. The fact that it's at Indiana,
The line's 6.5.
you gotta. I mean, I don't like that line. I don't like Indiana winning by 6. I mean, that's a huge line for this game. If I'm a prognosticator, I'm putting that line at 2.5. I like. You're gonna think I'm crazy. I like Nebraska to go in there and win that game.
Okay. Dave?
I like them to win. I don't know if I like them to cover. Biggest problem for me with Nebraska is they have a freshman quarterback.
And he's going to be a good one.
He's going to be
he's
great.
Dominic
He's,
Rioli.
he's
is,
efficient, but they're not
Yeah.
explosive. So Indiana's Curtis Rourke has 1,752 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in 6 games.
Yeah, they play a wide open offense.
Indiana looks like they can be
they spread it out.
explosive.
They're doing stuff they've never done before.
Nebraska's defense is 10th in pass rush grade right now by Pro Football Focus, and also 2nd in points per drive. So it's going to be which side.
But I like Nebraska's defense in this game. They play great defense all year.
I'm
I
a
don't.
defensive-minded individual.
You don't like them in this game? You don't like their defense? They've been a great defense all year.
They've played nobodies.
It doesn't matter.
Same with Indiana. Let's be honest.
Well,
Like,
you know,
some somebody, some.
Well, you know what the great part about the Big Ten is?
It's a crapshoot.
2 years ago, when you saw this schedule, you never thought this would have been a big game.
No.
So this is where the Big Ten's come.
the fact
And
that
we're
you've
getting
got
better and
Illinois,
better and better.
Indiana,
Yes.
and Nebraska all with well over 500 records.
Yeah, this
Penn
is great.
State.
Well, yeah, I mean, people expect
I mean, I
Penn State to
expect
be
Penn
good.
State to be there.
But Illinois, Brett Bielema's got that thing rolling there. That's a good
Yeah,
football team.
absolutely.
They're defensively, that Illinois team's good. I know we're not talking about them today as far as the game's concerned.
We'll get there.
But that's a good team. I like this Indiana team.
What the hell were they doing last week against Purdue?
I don't know.
You're a 21-point favorite,
Yeah, I know.
and you give up 49 to a crappy
But
Purdue team.
I like Nebraska for whatever reason to win this game.
I like them to win. I don't know if they cover. I ain't touching it with a 10-foot pole.
I do have a play on this game, so I'm going to save my pick for later.
I like Nebraska to win.
Okay. Speaking of Penn State, boy, they got lucky last week against USC, huh?
They sure
They
did.
tried to give that one away.
They did some work.
But then so did Lane Kiffin or Lincoln Riley,
Lincoln Riley, yeah.
which
for
I'm
sure.
just starting to believe he's just not a very good coach.
Well, you know when it comes
Not a
down,
great game day coach.
It just comes down to clock management. That clock management at the end of that game was like
Horrible.
nothing I've ever seen
Horrible.
before. He let 1 minute 29 seconds roll off that clock. I mean, I was sitting there watching.
I know,
I'm-
pulling hair out. Like, what are you doing?
I'm
Take a
screaming
time
at
out.
the TV. I'm not even a fan. I'm going, what the hell are you doing? You know, so that was bizarre to me.
Yep. Let's move on to another interesting game. Miami is traveling to Louisville. Miami right now is a 4.5-point favorite. I have seen a few 5s out there. I've also seen a couple 4s. Let's go with 4.5 as the line in the median. And Dave, what do you think about Miami this weekend at Louisville?
Given all of the hurricane talk that I've heard for the past several weeks, you're telling me Hurricane Sebastian is going to land in Louisville, Kentucky. I frankly don't give a damn about a hurricane. I'm taking whatever it is. I think it's 61.5. I'm taking the over. I'm over it with the Hurricanes, the hurricane, whatever. I didn't even look at this because I'm sick of the word hurricane. That's
right.
all I got.
I get that. I think we all are around here. After Milton and
Yeah, Helene and.
I got Miami
Name 'em.
coming in. I have Cam Ward having a great game. I think they've subsided that defense. I think they have a good game. I think they win this thing about 35-17 in Louisville. Just my own humble opinion. I think this is the game that Miami says, hey, instead of being ranked 8th or 9th or 10th, now we could be ranked 5th.
yeah.
Yay! Look at us.
But here's when you're 5th this time of year. If you win the rest of your games, now you're 4th.
You start creeping.
And you get a bye.
You win the ACC, you get a bye in the playoffs. So I think that's where Miami's kind of at right now.
But we talked about Miami. I'm not
Yeah.
going to use the word. We talked about them after week 1. They can easily run the table. Look at their schedule.
Yeah, we did. You and I both said that.
This is
Yeah.
prove it to me until you get to the ACC championship.
Well, look,
Yeah.
they got Clemson
No.
coming up in 2 weeks.
You gonna worry about Clemson against Miami?
I think Clemson beats them.
Clemson's playing better and better and better.
I'm not sleeping on them, but
I'm not sleeping on Clemson, but I think Miami's a good football team. I think they're
Well,
really
now
good
that they
football
got their whole entire defensive line back healthy, I think
team.
that's
I
a
just
big
think
key
it's
for
a
them.
good football team.
And I got to play on this game as well, so I'm going to save that for our picks. But this is a big game for Louisville as far as recruiting because they
Massive.
flood the Miami market in recruiting,
They flood Florida.
and they pull guys
No, I
out.
mean, they
In
flood
general,
Florida.
you're right. Yeah.
They flood Florida. They love the state to get their players.
Last game I wanted to touch on.
Michigan, Illinois.
Well, yeah, that one. I think this is going to be painful to watch. So let alone bet it. I don't know if I can, but Michigan is a 3-point favorite on the road. Dave?
You got a Brett Bailey team that's so improved from last year.
I think that team takes on the personality of Brett Bielema and
Michigan wins.
plays their heart out.
Michigan wins on the road. It's a
Luke
big win for
Altmaier is
Michigan.
not the greatest quarterback in the world, but is he better than what Michigan has at quarterback? I'll say yes.
It's a big win for Michigan this weekend on the road playing a ranked team. I think Michigan gets this win. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game at all.
Oh, I don't either. I
I
think
mean,
this
is that
could
a
be
noon start?
look, Altmaier's got that is a
Dave, is that
that
a
is a
3:30?
It's a 3:30 start.
Yep.
Yeah.
By 6:30, that'll be about 13 to 6.
Yeah, you-
No,
just
no,
telling
yeah,
you.
it's going to be painful.
That's
but
going to be ugly to watch.
That's my favorite kind of ball game to
Me
watch.
too,
As long as
yeah.
it's not ref dependent and
as
so
long
on
as
and
I'm
so
on the
forth.
right side, it's
No,
my
Exactly.
favorite game
No,
to watch.
no. Give me close. Give me defense. Run
Yeah.
the rock.
Right.
I love old school ball. Now,
I'm taking-
Altmaier, the quarterback for Illinois, he completes less than 55% of his passes under
Yeah.
pressure. And Michigan can bring some pressure.
Michigan's
they can
front
call
seven,
some havoc.
Michigan's front seven will create havoc in that game.
And their back four can cause some
I'm
turnovers.
not worried about Michigan
I'm
covers
not-
that spread.
not saying
covers
they
that
will.
game. That's one of my hot picks for the week.
Okay.
Illinois' defense is 105th in defensive line yards allowed.
Yes.
And 96th in
Michigan's
yards
going to
per
run the
carry.
ball all day.
So it's not what can Michigan put out there at quarterback as much as it's can Mullins and Edwards get going.
Michigan might not throw a pass in the first 3 or
If
4
Michigan-
They might not throw past the whole
doesn't
game,
run
all of
the
the Penn
ball.
They're going
State
to run the
game.
football.
If they don't
Oh,
run
they're
the ball 45 times, I'd be shocked.
Oh, they're going to. Believe me.
If
Sure.
if Orji, Mullins, and Edwards don't have combined 65 carries, they lose this game.
Now, Michigan played
well,
three
not that, but if
quarterbacks
they don't
last
have
time
those
out.
65 carries, then it's a coaching staff's problem because they're going to run all over this team. They're going to run all over.
Who is Michigan going to start at quarterback?
Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just out of curiosity.
I think it's gonna.
It's
Me
gonna be
personally,
Orji.
it's gonna be the two platoon system.
It's going to be Orji
They
again.
tried-
He'll start.
Well, last time out, they
I-
played three quarterbacks. I don't think Orji
What do
gets
you
to
think?
start.
I think they're gonna start Tuttle.
Okay.
Really?
I think they'll start Tuttle. They'll hand the ball off and try and just not even dink and dunk.
And then see
just,
where it goes from
Just
there.
dink
Yeah.
and kind of wildcat Orgy in, even in that very first series. But just get Tuttle out there, get him out there to get a feel for it.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I think Michigan
super
wins that
young.
game about 23 to 14, 23-15.
This game might be
23-13,
2-0 for all. I mean,
no, Michigan's going to score because they're going to chew up the clock.
I was
Well,
gonna,
Illinois
I was gonna
gave
go
up
6.
49
I was
to
gonna go
Purdue last
6 to
week.
5.
No, they're going to chew up the clock. They're going to get their 20.
You're right, Dave. I could
They're going to chew up the clock and get
Look,
the points. They're going to cover
Illinois
that three.
defense gave up 49 points to a bad Purdue team last
Michigan
week.
will cover that.
So if Michigan ever had a get-right game on offense, this is it.
Oh, for sure.
Last game, real quick. I know this is a 6th game, but any interest in Notre Dame at Georgia Tech? I'm curious about this game, and
It's a must-win for Notre Dame, obviously.
Georgia Tech's given 11.
no, Georgia Tech is getting
Or I'm
12.
sorry,
getting 12.
is getting
Notre Dame's not going to
getting
cover
11 and a half.
It's my dog of the week.
Notre Dame does not
Not to
cover
give that away, but
I think that game is a 27-21. Notre
Michigan's
Dame win.
Notre Dame's best cornerback out for the year. They've got
Well,
their
they got the left tackle
tackle's got a problem.
That's not playing this week.
I'm leaning Georgia Tech heavily, and add in it's at
Well,
the
at 13, Notre Dame covers it.
All right.
okay.
Notre Dame covers that.
You think they're going to cover the 13?
Yes, they're going to cover and win the game. No, they're not going to cover. I'm sorry, they're going to win the game, but they're not going to cover.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's my dog of the week.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's being played
Take
at
Georgia Tech all day long.
Mercedes-Benz Dome. Going to have a huge
take
crowd.
Georgia Tech all day long.
Now, the
Notre Dame wins.
numbers I have here is Notre Dame is 108th in passing offense, but 16th in rushing offense. Okay?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Georgia Tech is 59th in passing, 25th in rushing.
But look at Georgia Tech's run defense.
I understand that. Haynes King is dealing with a day-to-day injury.
Okay.
If the quarterback for Georgia Tech, Haynes King, 71.2% completion percentage, 1,568 yards, 8 touchdowns plus 6 rushing touchdowns. If he's out, Notre Dame handily covers.
I think he'll play.
I believe
I
he
mean,
will
really,
too.
when we all get up in the morning, aren't we all day to day?
But here's the thing with
I
Notre
know
Dame.
I am.
Well,
I mean, what the hell?
Notre
we're
Dame-
old, and
Hey,
we're not
what's
getting paid
old?
NIL money.
Notre Dame in the last 5 years sucks on the road. They don't cover shit on the road.
No.
Excuse my language.
No.
They
So,
don't.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for our little college football analysis here. Guys, big shout out to the Seabreeze Lounge, allowing us to record here every Wednesday night, right here in Palm Harbor, Florida. If you're in the area, get on by, check it out. Great food, great drink specials, great staff. We can't thank Terry and Karen enough for allowing us to do this here. And they went through it during the storm. We were thankful to see them open 2 days later. So, big shout out to them. Let's move to the NFL. We were talking how screwy it's been this year, and it's just as screwy when it comes to betting the NFL.
It's tough.
Dogs of 5.5 more are hitting it like 70%. And then last week you have road favorites go and win 9-0.
It's just tough
Against
to
the
win in the
number.
NFL. The NFL is tough.
It's not a horrible slate. I think 2 of your better games, 3 of your better games will be later. You've got the primetime game, Jets Steelers. Now that they had Jets have Devontae Adams. And then Monday night is Ravens at Bucks, which I think, is going to be a great game.
It's going to be a great game.
And then
doubleheader.
it's a doubleheader. You know what's weird about this?
One's an 8:15 start and one's a 9 o'clock start.
But the 9 o'clock game, this is going to be the first game ever for the NFL that is streamed exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Right.
Just like they did with the playoff game last year on Peacock.
Right.
You have to have ESPN Plus to watch that epic Chargers at Cardinals matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be something.
I do, and we have it with Hulu, and the Hulu Plus, you get ESPN
Oh, yeah.
Plus.
With Hulu Plus, you get everything.
I'm curious, and I think the other one is Chiefs at Niners.
I got the Niners all day long.
I
in
do
that game.
too.
I love the Niners in that game. Absolutely love the Niners in that game. And I
Yeah.
love the Bengals over the Browns.
That's another game I like. and
I
was gonna
love the
touch on
Bengals
that.
over the Browns.
So let's touch on the Devontae Adams trade. First of all, you look, there were 3 teams they said hot and heavy. The Jets, the Bills, and the Saints. Well, the Saints missed out. They weren't getting them.
Right.
The Bills, I'm surprised, but I guess
Carr
they...
being injured
Well, the Bills went and got Amari Cooper
Amari Cooper.
after the fact.
after the fact.
Well, they had to do something to help that wide receiver corps
Yeah, they did.
because they had nobody.
Yeah, 'cause
So
I
is
went
that the
flat
beginning of the
on Campbell.
Browns fire sale, or? what are we
Well,
looking
you
at
got
there?
November 5th as the trade deadline. So I think over the next few weeks, you may see a few guys shipped out.
You're going to have to.
I got one in mind.
I don't even know what to say about Lerner and that contract he
He
gave.
wants Myles Garrett at Detroit.
Damn right I do.
Boy, what a tough injury for you guys.
That sucked.
The saddest I've ever been in a victory
I
of
texted
such
him,
proportions.
and I was like so bummed. He's one of
And
my
it-
favorite players to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. And it was a gruesome injury.
But my wife's a surgical nurse. I'm not going to get into too much of it, but she said
Oh, he'll be back.
2 rods.
Not this year, but
And she said
He'll be
said
back.
he could play by the Super Bowl possibly, depending on how bad it is and where the rods go. Once you put those in, your leg's totally stabilized.
sure. But
it's just the amount of pain you can deal with.
let's just go ahead and move forward because, I mean, not for nothing. I feel bad for Aiden Hutchinson. I feel worse for Jerry Jones on his birthday, what we did to him.
You know what? That was
Well,
We
great.
had a
Well, that was great.
The Detroit Lions ran a hook and ladder and
Yeah.
tried to attempt completed passes to, I feel like, the entire offensive line throughout the game, just to give them the. And one of the games that you're not mentioning is the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings versus the 4-1 Detroit Lions.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't.
This week.
That's a great game.
Yeah,
It's a great game that I'm not touching.
Well, it's a divisional game.
it's at Minnesota.
Yes.
And that's a huge game, division-wise.
Yeah,
Detroit has to go up there and win that game.
I agree.
You don't want
Otherwise,
to be 4-2 and then be 6-0.
No,
You
not
don't
at
want
all.
that.
2 games
So you got to go up
behind.
there and kick their ass. And
That whole division is fantastic.
that's the best
this
division
year.
of football.
Right now, you'd get all 4 teams in the playoffs.
That's the best division of football. By far. There's nothing even close to that.
Yeah, but have the Bears really shown me anything? Beating Jacksonville in England. Jacksonville just showed me that they're winning.
Here's the thing. It all
You can only
pans-
play who's on your schedule. But Caleb
Sure.
Williams is starting to look more and more comfortable every week. Last week, he was finally able to get Keenan Allen involved in the offense because Keenan Allen had been grumbling a little bit behind the scenes. There's only one football on the field. And when you got DJ Moore, you got the rookie at Dunzier, and you got Keenan Allen.
Well, the funny thing about the NFL is you all know what the hell's going on by Thanksgiving. You really do.
Yeah, the playoff picture starts to take pretty
It
good
takes
shape.
it takes a nice mold to take shape, so we know what the hell's going on. So we got a month to go, or actually 5 weeks to go, before we know what the hell's going on. There's a lot of teams that are not getting in. We know
No,
that.
we have a crappy Thursday night game again. Denver at the Saints. I literally think if you hear one of our phones ring, they may be calling us to play for either team because they're that banged up.
Yeah, they're horrible.
The Saints are hurt all over the field. The Broncos, no Patrick Surtain.
So who are your picks this week, Sean? I mean,
Well,
who do you like?
I want to get into a couple things, and we'll get there, and then we'll get into our picks for the
Okay.
week. And I just lost my train of thought. It does happen from time to time.
Does happen.
Does Devontae Adams make the difference this week? Do they go into Pittsburgh and win?
Probably.
That's what
Sunday night?
it's Sunday night, but what? Jets are still 2-4.
Here's the thing: the Jets are
Steelers
2-4.
are 4-2.
Steelers are 4-2.
You got a new coach. First week, they're bringing in a new wide receiver. I don't know if this week's the week that it makes a difference.
I mean, there is the
honest with
rapport between Adams and Rodgers that they're going to hope
been
it's still
gone
magic.
for 3 years.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
been gone for a while.
against the Steelers defense,
Which is
in
a good
Steelers
defense.
country.
Yeah, it's in Pitt. I think the Jets go down.
I was gonna say, as much as we're saying this, the more I think about it, who's starting? Russell Wilson or Justin Fields?
Fields.
It looks
So,
like Fields
the
is going to be the
Jets-
starter.
So I think the Jets can make it happen because you have just as many questions offensively on Pittsburgh that you do right now with the
Here's the
Jets
thing with
team,
Pittsburgh's
so-
defense. They're averaging damn near two turnovers a game.
Yeah.
And they're putting Fields in a position where
Short
he can
field.
manage
Yeah.
the game and win football games. So if they can do that against the Jets, I think they win.
As a Steelers fan, it's frustrating to be under the cap and see the Jets go get Adams and the Bills go get Amari Cooper, and talk about a team that desperately needs a veteran wide receiver.
Amari Cooper would have been great at Pittsburgh.
You got George Pickens.
Yeah. I think he's going to be.
We can
I think,
all laugh at that one.
I think they're going to ship him out in the offseason too, George
They
Pickens.
should have shipped him out.
Yeah.
Just like they
Draft
did the idiot, the kid that went to Notre Dame that came in, they traded to the Bears, or number 11, I can't think of his name, whatever. I think they may go out and get Cortland Sutton from Denver. I really think so.
Well, it depends if Denver wins this week. If they win this week, they're not going to trade Sutton.
Yeah,
So it all
I
depends
don't see
on
Denver as a playoff team.
I don't either. But
I mean, Bo Nix
but
has played better than I ever expected.
but if you're 4-3, you're not going to trade Sutton.
True. You got to
You're
give me
just not
something.
going to do it.
Sure. So let's get into our picks this week. Dave, I'll start with you. College, let's run that through.
College, I'm a road dog all day long this week. I'm taking Georgia. As I said earlier, I'm taking Georgia to beat Texas on the road. I'm taking Alabama to cover at Tennessee because I just think Alabama can cause more havoc offensively than Tennessee's seen. Tennessee's secondary is weak. Their front seven is strong, but Milroe is going to be that dual threat that makes it happen with those wide receivers getting loose. I think they just make that happen. And I got to go Nebraska. Just what I was talking about their defense earlier. I got to go Nebraska. It's two teams. I remember Nebraska back in the day. And I'm talking 90s.
Tom Osborne.
Yeah.
Of course.
Lawrence Phillips.
Yes. When Nebraska was Nebraska. And then I still remember Nebraska as well when Ndamukong Suh sacked Colt McCoy
Yeah.
in the Big 12 championship game. 9.5 sacks, I believe it was, or 7.5 sacks by one player. And they still lost that game on
It was a wrecking ball.
But I think Nebraska has, with Matt Rule, has become that.
They've gotten better and better and better.
They've become that true Big Ten style
Yeah, they
wrecking
have.
ball. So those are my 3 college picks. I would
Okay.
take Nebraska, Alabama, and Georgia.
Anything on the underdog of the week side?
Underdog of the week. Not really.
Sorry if you don't like one. That's okay.
It's not if it is, it's Georgia Tech because King is healthy.
That's what I'm saying. That's my dog.
That's my underdog of the
My
week.
dog is Georgia Tech. I've got. I love Georgia at Texas. I love them. I love Alabama at Tennessee. And I'm like you. I like Nebraska. We talked about this earlier. But I like Georgia. I like Georgia Tech against Notre Dame.
I'm for my dog of the week. It's going to be Georgia Tech, and if you're watching at home, just keep in mind my underdog of the week is 5-0 this year. I haven't taken a loss. Don't expect to take one this week.
Nope.
Georgia Tech plus the 12.
They cover that easy.
I believe so.
Yeah.
As far as my 3 picks of the week, I'm going to be going against these guys. I'm on Texas. I'll lay the 3.5. I really think that Texas just has too many horses for Georgia. And it seems weird to say that because Georgia's been the creme de la creme for 3 years. But I think that Texas, kind of a team of destiny this year. I really feel like it's their year. I'm on Miami. I'll lay the 4.5 at Louisville. I just think it's a true talent mismatch. I don't think Louisville's that good. They've played a few teams tough, but I think Miami has too many horses for them.
Yep. We agree on that.
And my third one's going to be Indiana. I'll lay the 6.5 at home. I'm not sold on Nebraska.
You're going to lose that.
Hey,
Nebraska's
it is what
going to
it
march
is.
in there and just kick their ass. I'm just telling you.
I'm-
That's what's going to happen.
I'm going to take Indiana, and I'll lay the 6.5. I think they have too much offense and play just enough defense against a freshman quarterback to cover that number. And hey, it might be 27-20, 31-24, something like that.
I get it.
Just enough to cover.
Right.
That's all I care. So it's going to be Miami, it's going to be Texas, it's going to be Indiana, and it's going to be Georgia Tech.
Yeah, we're all pretty
plus
similar in
12.
what we're doing, other than the one game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NFL, Tom, you want to start us off?
I hate to do this because I never bet 4 against Cleveland, but that team is such a mess. And the Bengals are 2-4. This is a big game for the Bengals.
Their offense is nothing wrong with their offense.
It's nothing. And here's the thing: Cleveland's offense can't score against anybody's defense.
What
so
did
it
I
doesn't
hear?
matter.
What did I hear somebody call them the other day? The Cleveland Blackjacks.
I mean,
And I'm thinking, why the hell? And then he said, because every game they haven't scored more than a
20.
blackjack hand.
More than 20. Right.
16, 13.
So I got the Bengals minus the 4.5.
It's up to 6.5.
Okay, I'll still take the 6.
I am. I'm not scared.
I got
of
all day money on that. And then I love Chiefs at the 49ers. I just love the 49ers to win this game.
Yeah, I do. I kind of do.
I love the 49ers to win that game. So those are my 2 NFL picks.
Okay. Dave?
I just feel bad for those people in England having to witness the 1-5
Oh,
Patriots versus the 1-5 Jaguars.
Oh God, isn't that
Yeah.
horrible?
If anything, I'll just take that a win for the United States, just to remind you what happened in
How many times do
1776.
Jaguars have to go to England every year?
It is what it is.
yeah, well, they want to move them there, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down
Is that
to.
what it is? Okay.
In terms of my NFL picks, I'm sitting here looking at, I got to get right. I'm going to take the gimme. Well, can't call it a gimme, but I mean, Washington is giving 8 to the Panthers. And Jaden Daniels will be more than responsible for those 8 points over the Carolina Panthers, with or without the red rifle.
8's a lot in the NFL. That's what
8's a
scares
lot.
me.
It's
I
in,
don't know, like we
it's in,
said, dogs of 5.5 are hitting at a 70%
Yeah, that's a
clip.
scary. But I mean,
it's in Washington at 4:05, and
It is?
I think Jaden Daniels is, as much as you talked about Bo Nix hitting, Jaden Daniels has hit his stride.
Oh, he's been
in
the best
NFL.
pick in the draft.
So,
I think
there's
2
no
years
doubt.
from now he's going to be that C.J. Stroud guy that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think they're right there in the same token, but he's a different player than
by
C.J.
the end of this year, there will be heavy comparisons to everything RG3 did.
How can you
They're-
not in Washington?
they're
Yeah,
already
very
there.
much so.
But
Yeah.
he will have all those numbers, and this game will be a real, true, just his own personal
I'm just-
greatest show.
I'm just
So-
afraid that Carolina can put up enough points to stay within a touchdown. Because Dalton does move the ball up and down the field.
He does.
He does, but man, that defense is horrific at times.
It is.
mean,
Yeah, with no
good
Brian
Lord.
Burns, they got no pass
Those
rush.
defensive backs, I mean, he's
So-
going to throw all day. Jaden Daniels will throw for 300 yards this week.
Oh, I think it whatever it is, if you can get a prop bet on it, take the over in Daniel's passing
He
yards.
goes way over 3. He goes over 300.
Yeah,
Believe me.
I think so.
Yeah,
All right, so
I got-
Washington is pick number 1, -8.
Washington's pick number 1, -8. I don't know how to feel about it, but at -6.5, the Raiders going to the Rams. They lost Devontae Adams. The Rams are porous and just injury ridden. As much as we're talking about a touchdown is a big thing, I think
Right.
I think the Raiders can rally against the Rams. So I'm going to take the Raiders on the road.
To cover
Given-
that 6.5.
You
Given
read my
6.5.
I like it.
I'm going to take that one.
Cover that 6.5. That's not a
And
bad
who are the
bet.
Rams to be favored by a touchdown over anybody?
Over anybody as bad as they played.
With no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua.
Puka-Nacua.
Their defense is banged up. Yeah, I like the pick. I like that a lot. Go ahead.
God.
Pick number 3.
Pick number 3, up and down the board on this one. I got to go with the Ravens. They're coming to Tampa. Tampa's defense has looked good. They've looked bad. They've looked good. Baker's done some amazing things. But the Baltimore Ravens are out rushing everybody in the
gonna
NFL
run the
at a
ball all day.
historic rate. Tampa's defense isn't ready for King Henry and Lamar
Nope.
Jackson.
I
No.
don't know if Henry's going to have the success running up the middle now that Vita Vea is back healthy.
I'm not worried about him running up the middle because he can just run around Vita Vea. I mean, Vita Vea is
He
good,
can bounce out.
But
Henry
he can
still has enough
definitely-
speed to bounce outside the tackle. And once he gets downfield, he's a load.
I think Levante David is going to have to play spy the entire game on
He-
Lamar
The key to
Jackson.
them winning is Levante David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I
And now
think
they
sure.
get Winfield back in the secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, that offense put up a 50 spot last week.
Here's the thing, though. The Ravens' defense has not been outstanding.
Come on, they give up 38 to the Bengals. or
Yeah,
39
they
to
haven't
the
been a great
Bengals.
defense. So that's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I think so. But hey, it's a field goal game. There you go. So you're on the Ravens. You're on the Redskins. I call them the Redskins. I know it's not PC. I don't give a shit. And your third one was the Raiders. So my NFL picks. I am on the over 51 in the Atlanta-Seattle game. I think we're going to see a shootout. Kirk Cousins, 1 o'clock. I think Atlanta will be successful. He started to get Pitts more involved in the offense. and with Drake London and Bijan. And you know Seattle can throw the ball all over the field. They got one of the best wide receiving cores in football. So, and I'm not impressed by their defense. So I'm on over 51 in the Seattle-Atlanta game. I'm also going to be on the Raiders getting 7 from the Rams. I think that's too many points for the Rams to be laying to anybody. And you know what? Maybe they're down 10 or maybe they're down 13 and they get a late backdoor touchdown.
Yeah, a little garbage time.
Just enough for Aiden O'Connell and the boys to go cover the
Garbage time ruins a lot of lines, guys.
So that'll be number 2. And number 3 is the Bengals.
Yep, love the Bengals all week.
I do have a very strong lean to the 49ers.
Oh, I love the 49ers.
But in keeping it at 3 picks, I had to eliminate something. I like those 3 just a smidge better. So I'm on the Bengals minus the 6.5. I'm on the Raiders plus the 7 and over 51 with a very heavy lean to the 49ers. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for Week 8 college and Week 7 NFL. Certainly glad to be back with everybody out there on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Thank you to everybody. We've been growing our subscription list here by leaps and bounds over the past 3 weeks. To all the new members, welcome. And we're glad you've chosen to join us. Any other thoughts this week, guys?
No, it's going to be a fun weekend, though.
I think
college has some intriguing games. The NFL has some separation games. And
Yeah.
I think college football has separation games this
I
week.
agree.
Especially when you got looking at Georgia and Texas and Alabama and Tennessee. If Alabama loses, that's 2 losses. If, Georgia loses, that's 2 losses. And all of a sudden we're looking at a SEC conference that's got the 2 studs we've seen for the last 20 years with 2 losses. So it's separation week.
Yeah, Dave, how about you? Any other last thoughts?
I'm just looking forward to not having to put boards up, take boards down, go knock on the neighbor's door, pick up leaves, pick up sticks, and be able to actually
Isn't that the truth?
sit back and watch some of this.
I missed
Chaos.
all day Saturday last week. Great games on Saturday because I was helping neighbors doing this.
It is
doing
what
Yeah,
it
that.
guys, be thankful you didn't have to go through what we went through with this.
I finally
This was
sat
not a
down
fun one.
Sunday night for Ohio State, and they shut the bed. So it is
Well,
what it is.
That's another question.
Yeah.
Did they?
I think they did. They had like Florida, every opportunity to win the game.
They did
But
that. That interference call at the end was a
little ticky-tack.
big time.
But we'll get to
I
Ohio
googled
State.
it between all the divisions in college and all the NFL. How many offensive interference calls are called per year on percentage? 7.5%.
I was going to say 5, but
7%. So when the corner engages with you, and then you push off, I don't know. It was within the rules. Ohio State lost, and quite honestly, Lanning outcoached Ryan at the end with that 12 men on the field. That was great. That was classic. Am I right?
If Ohio
Dave,
State,
am I right or am I wrong?
I'm just going to sit back and
But it was great.
chuckle.
Yeah,
I
it
agree
was
with
great.
you. I will wrap it up at this here, guys. We don't want to get on too much of a tangent. If Ohio State, and I don't think they lose to Michigan this year, but let's say they lose to Penn State or they lose in the Big Ten championship.
They're not in. Well, it just depends on who else.
Well, no,
loses.
right. But is Ryan Day out of a job with
I'll put it to you this way.
Mike Vrabel sitting out there?
I put it to you this way: he has to beat Penn State at Penn State, and he has to beat Michigan. And when he goes in the playoffs, I think he has to get to the championship game. But here's the thing: if he loses to another top 5 team again, he's going to be 2-8 against top 5 teams.
That doesn't
And that's
fly in
something-
Columbus.
Tressel didn't do it. Urban Meyer didn't do it. So we're looking at something that
And with Mike Vrabel waiting
they're
in the
going to have to
wings,
question.
I think that'd be an easy trigger to pull.
I don't
And
know if
Dale
he's the
land
guy-
on his
I don't know
feet
if he's
somewhere.
the guy or not.
You got Chip Kelly sitting in the booth already.
Yeah,
Chip
that's
Kelly
true.
does not want that head coaching job. He's already said it.
Who would
I
want
don't
it?
think they'd make him
Who
head
wants to
coach.
stay?
He doesn't want it. He
Ohio.
wants to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He wants to recruit and they just call plays.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. We've given you the information. You're armed and ready. Go make your picks. Be smart about it. Don't gamble above your head. Gamble with your head. And go cash those tickets, guys. For Super Dave Kreitz and Midwest Tommy Tice, I am the magnificent one, Sean Mayall. We will see you next week at the Seabreeze Lounge next Wednesday, 7 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you guys then. Hit subscribe, hit like, give us a follow in the social media platforms, and we'll see you next time. Guys, thanks.